They never found Jake's body, just his backpack slumped against a pine tree like a discarded skin. The rangers said a bear dragged him off, but the claw marks on his pack, they weren't animal, too precise, too human. I should have listened to him. 6 months ago, over bitter coffee in his cramped apartment, he'd shoved a photo at me, a blurry shape in the woods, tall and skeletal, its head tilted at an impossible angle. They're covering it up, Clara, the Hearts, the Rangers. Mom didn't just die in these woods. Something took her. I'd laughed, called him paranoid. Then came the voicemail. Clara, I found the coffin. It's under the rest, drowned in static. Now, I'm standing in the shadow of Silver Pine Forest, clutching his backpack. The zipper's torn, stained with a black resin that pulses faintly, like a heartbeat. The cabin appears at dusk. Rotting timbers, shattered windows, but the door is pristine, freshly painted red. Inside, dust motes swirl in my flashlight beam, settling on a journal splayed open on a desk. The pages are brittle, but the entry stops me cold. October 14th, 1982. The Hearts brought me here to survey the land. They didn't mention the graves, dozens of them, shallow, scattered like seeds, and the symbols carved into the trees. I've seen them before, in my wife's autopsy photos, etched into her ribs. Clara, Jake's voice. From the corner, I spin, nothing but shadows. The journal trembles in my hands. October 16th. It's learning. Last night, it sang Marie's lullaby. Tonight, it scratches at the door, sobbing like a child. Don't look. Don't listen. A child's sob echoes upstairs. The ceiling creaks. Jake, stop this. The journal slips, landing open on a page dated October 19th, 2023, 3 days after Jake vanished. Clara, if you're reading this, I'm already dead. The symbols aren't a warning, they're a bridge. It's been watching us, feeding on our guilt. Mom, she tried to stop it. That's why they killed her. Follow the river, burn the page is torn. The door slams shut. I run until the trees thin. The GPS flickers. Silver Pine Cemetery, 1823. The trail narrows. Trees pressing closer. A deer blocks my path. Eyes milky white, antlers tangled with ribbons marked with that same cursed symbol. It doesn't blink, doesn't breathe. The river boils below the cliff, water thick and black. Jake's shirt flutters on a dead oak, pierced by a rusted knife. The fabric's icy, soaked in amber sap that squirms against my skin. Jake, where are you? A hand grabs my shoulder. He's here, pale, gaunt, but alive. Clara, you have to leave. It's not just the warden. The whole forest is alive. It's been using me to lure you here, to replace me. How do I stop it? You can't, but you can save yourself. Go to the... His jaw unhinges. A guttural roar tears through the trees. I run. The cabin's trap door gapes open. The basement walls pulse. Not wood, flesh. Photos plaster the ceiling. Jake, Elias, Mom. Her face is scratched out. A camcorder whirs. Elias's voice crackles. The Hearts knew. They fed it. Missing hikers, campers, my Marie. Guilt is its currency. The more you hate yourself, the tighter it binds you. Shadows congeal. A figure emerges, Mom, her face melting into bark. You let me die, Clara, just like Jake. No. The car crashed. It was an accident. Was it? The walls bleed. The camcorder plays a new tape. Mom's car swerves to avoid something tall and faceless on the road. The phone rings. Jake's voice. Clara, the crash wasn't an accident. The warden chose her. Now it's choosing you. The figure lunges. I leap off the cliff. Water crashes. Silence. I wake in the cabin. The journal is blank. My camcorder plays a video. Me, digging a grave. Jake's body thrashes inside. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. A park ranger's flashlight scans the cabin. Another heart gone. At least this one left a journal. A photo falls from its pages. Clara and Jake as kids, standing in front of the cabin. The forest is closed indefinitely. A voicemail plays. Clara? It's me. I'm still here. The forest. It's beautiful. You'll love it. Laughter. The call ends. 3 days ago, a family vanished in Nevada's Black Rock Desert. No bodies. Just their RV, abandoned, and this VHS tape. The last frame shows their daughter Emily staring past the camera, whispering, "Don't let it see you smile." Now I'm standing where they disappeared, and the ground, it's breathing. I shouldn't be here. Not after what happened at Red Rock Canyon. 5 years ago, a hiker died under my watch. Dehydration, they said. But his canteen was full. His journal's final entry, "The desert is hungry. It's eaten me from the inside." They took my badge. They'd take my son Kyle too if I fail this time. The RV hunches in the sand, door dangling like a broken jaw. Inside, the air reeks of spoiled milk and burnt plastic. A child's drawing clings to the fridge, stick figures holding hands under a grinning shadow labeled "The Smiling Man." Beneath it, a journal. The father's handwriting phrase with each entry. Day 3. Emily woke us last night, said a tall man stood at the foot of her bed. No eyes, just a smile. We checked the cameras, nothing, but the windows scratched from the inside. Day 5, found the mine shaft. Symbols carved into the stone match the ones Emily draws in her sleep. She says he's older than the desert, older than God. My radio dies. The door slams. Outside, the sun bleeds into the horizon, the desert size. Footprints circle the RV, small, barefoot, Emily's. But they vanish halfway, swallowed by the sand. The walkie-talkie crackles. He doesn't like grown-ups. He wants kids. Emily's voice, but warped, metallic, like it's coming from underwater. I rewind the VHS. Emily's reflection glints in the static. A skeletal figure behind her, face stretched into a toothless grin. The tape melts in my hands. Dawn breaks. Fresh footprints lead to the mine shaft. Inside, a shrine. Dolls with sand-filled eyes, Polaroids of missing children, and Emily's backpack. A giggle echoes, "Tag! You're it!" Back at the RV, a glass jar sits on the table. Black beetles writhe inside, forming Emily's face. The journal flips open. A new entry in my handwriting. Day 1, I shouldn't have come here. He's been waiting. The walls bleed sand. My flashlight flickers. Words etch into my arm. Let him in. Emily's voice taunts over the walkie. He likes Mom's best. They're the easiest to break. I run. The desert fractures. The mine shaft yawns. Tunnels lined with cages and tiny bones. A shadow looms. No eyes, no nose. Just a grin splitting its skull. Where's Emily? It cocks its head. Sand spills from its mouth, shaping words. Safe, loved, unlike your son. My phone rings. Lena, where's Kyle? His daycare said you picked him up. The smiling man's laughter drowns my ex's voice. I wake in the RV. The VHS plays a new scene. Kyle sits cross-legged, drawing a picture of me. "Don't let it see you cry," he whispers. Outside, the desert is still. My Jeep is gone. The mine shaft whispers. Post-credits, radio static. Search suspended for Ranger Reyes. Evidence found at the scene. A child's drawing of a woman with sand spilling from her eyes and a jar full of beetles. My sister's last broadcast was 6 words. The lighthouse isn't warning us, it's calling them. They found her boat abandoned, engine still running, compass spinning like a mad thing. Now, I'm anchored where she vanished, and the water, it's moving against the tide. I shouldn't be here. Lila and I hadn't spoken in years, not since Dad's funeral. She blamed me for his suicide. I blamed her for dragging his name through the mud with her paranormal tidal theory nonsense. But her research buoy bobs in the waves now, rusted and cracked. Inside, a journal floats in murky water. Her handwriting bleeds across the pages. April 12th. The gray tide isn't algae. It's alive. It mimics voices, Dad's, old fishermen, even me. Last night, it begged me to turn off the light. April 14th. Found the bones under the lighthouse. Human, but fused with crab shells. The symbols on the walls match the ones in Dad's suicide note. My radio crackles. Don't trust the gulls. They're watching for him. Lila's voice, warped and wet. The crow's nest lighthouse looms ahead, its beam dark. Dad's stories claw at my memory. Ships vanished here long before the lighthouse. Sailors swore the fog had teeth. Inside, salt-crusted gears lie frozen. The generator hums when I kick it, unnaturally loud. The beacon flares to life, but the light isn't white. It's black, swallowing the horizon. The village across the bay vanishes from my binoculars. At midnight, the gray tide glows. Bioluminescent sludge creeps up the rocks, forming shapes. Humanoid, faceless, dragging themselves toward the lighthouse. My father's voice rises from the waves. "Turn off the light, Mara." It's the only way to save her. I descend into the cellar. The walls pulse with carved spirals that squirm under my flashlight. A rusted chain disappears into a water-filled pit. I pull. A cage surfaces, bones tangled with barnacles and kelp. The skull turns. Its jaw unhinges. "You shouldn't have come home, Mara." Dad's voice. I drop the chain. The gray tide surges through the door, pooling into a humanoid mass with Lila's face. The light feeds him. He's been waiting for you. The beacon's hum deafens. I climb. The black light pulses, revealing the bay below, crowded with silhouettes, drowned villagers, Lila, Dad. Their eyes reflect the beam, hungry. The shadow on the wall stretches, clawed, hunched, whispering, "Every light needs a keeper. Your father understood. So did your sister. Now it's your turn." I smash the beacon with a wrench. Glass shatters. Darkness swallows the tower. The gray tide recedes, dragging Lila's corpse into the depths. Dawn breaks. The village reappears. My radio screeches, "Mayday! The light's back on. It's red now. There's something in the tower. It's waving at..." The transmission dies.